Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a really sharp analysis of a hypothetical meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, and more importantly, what the source material argues this could mean for global power dynamics, especially for Taiwan. So, let's dive right in and unpack this dangerous meeting and the stark warning it holds.
Right off the bat, the source material we're looking at today does not pull any punches. It kicks things off with this exact question to frame its entire argument. It's a pretty stark comparison, right? And it's designed to make us immediately question the moral and the strategic stakes of a meeting like this.
Okay, so first, let's set the stage. This first part is all about the meeting itself and the powerful symbolism that the source argues is baked into every single detail. You have to understand, for Vladimir Putin, this isn't just a handshake. According to this analysis, it's a dream come true, a massive propaganda victory. I mean, after years of being treated like a pariah by Western leaders, being welcomed by an American president lets him broadcast a very clear message back home. See? The world's most powerful nation accepts me again.
And this is where the source points to a huge, glaring imbalance that it finds deeply troubling. You've got the leader of the aggressor nation getting a seat at the table, while the leader of the country being attacked, Ukraine's President Zelensky, is completely left out. The analysis basically asks, what kind of real peace can you even negotiate when the victim isn't even in the room?
Now, according to the source, the choice of Alaska is no accident. It's packed with messaging. This was once Russian land. So the question the analysis poses is this a subtle hint that, hey, maybe sovereign territory is negotiable, that borders can be bought and sold? It suggests this whole venue choice could be a deliberate move to set the stage for a deal where Ukraine is pressured to give up land just to make the fighting stop.
All right, so that's the what and the where. But why does the source view this as so incredibly dangerous? Well, Act 2 gets into that why by exploring the historical context that, in this view, is absolutely essential to understanding Russia's entire approach to power.
The core argument here is that if you try to analyze the situation using a standard Western diplomatic playbook, you're going to get it wrong. The source introduces this idea of a fundamentally different Russian political DNA, one that's been shaped by a very unique and often brutal history. A history that has created a completely different understanding of law, power, and what it means to negotiate.
So this timeline kinda traces how that split happened. It all starts with Kiev and Rus, which was connected to Europe. But then, and this is the crucial turning point according to the source, the Mongol invasion shatters that connection. The result? For over 2 centuries, the region is cut off, missing out on huge Western experiences like the Renaissance. And what grows out of that isolation is Muscovy, a centralized autocratic empire built on expansion and absolute rule. And this history, the analysis argues, is what created the model you see here. A political tradition without Western ideas like separation of powers or the sanctity of private property. In this worldview, power isn't checked and balanced. It's concentrated, and the final say in any dispute isn't law or diplomacy, it's strength. And all of this leads to what is probably the analysis's most blunt conclusion. In this political tradition, treating a leader with courtesy isn't seen as a step towards compromise, it's seen as weakness. The argument's whole thesis is really summed up in this one quote: the only language that commands respect is overwhelming strength. Okay, so this brings us to the final and maybe most important act. The so what, right? How does an analysis of a hypothetical meeting in Alaska have anything to do with the security of an island halfway across the world? Well, everything we've talked about has been building to this one warning. The meeting between an American president and Putin isn't just about Ukraine. The source presents it as a cautionary tale, a playbook that could be copied and pasted against any smaller nation, like Taiwan, that finds itself threatened by a larger, expansionist neighbor. So here's how that dangerous precedent works, step by step. First, a major power attacks. Then, instead of isolating the aggressor, a major world leader engages them directly. This effectively sidelines the victim, leaving them out of the discussion. From there, the aggressor uses this high-profile meeting as propaganda and sells it to the world as if they have international approval to take what they want by force. It's a huge propaganda win. And this is the core danger. From this perspective, the negotiation table stops being a place to find peace. It becomes a weapon. It's a stage for the stronger power to legitimize its conquest. The weaker party isn't there to negotiate. They're there to be told the terms of their own annexation, with the only questions being how quickly and at what cost.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from this analysis for a place like Taiwan? It really boils down to these strategic lessons. First, be incredibly wary of diplomatic setups that look reasonable on the surface, but are designed as traps. Second, understand that for some regimes, what looks like courtesy is actually interpreted as weakness. And maybe most importantly, it's a stark reminder that in the unforgiving arena of power politics, strength is the final currency.
And that leaves us with the big question that this whole analysis is really pushing us to think about. It's a sobering thought that challenges our conventional ideas about diplomacy. In a world where these different political DNAs are constantly clashing, is might the only argument that is truly and universally understood?